Today's episode is sponsored to you by A&H Provisions. Meat and hot dogs that are so good, even Goyim understand how amazing they are. It's the next level of kosher food, and the website is kosherdogs.net. Get yours, enjoy them, A&H Provisions. Welcome to Andy's Modi. Hi, everybody. We're back. Here we are. Today's episode is brought to you by A&H Provisions, the best hot dogs in the world, and meats that are amazing. The high quality. Our guest today, I'm letting you know that even non-Jews buy this because they know it's so good. Their website is
www.kosherdogs.net, and they're also, what kind of kosher are they?
Glatt kosher.
There you go.
Glatt kosher.
And the promo code is MODI for 30% off your first order.
That's right. MODI, you're 30% off your first order. Get them in before Passover. And, this is probably airing way after. Never mind. Just get your orders in. Enjoy them. Okay, we have an amazing guest here today. We have Erik Bottcher.
Hi. Welcome.
Erik is we're not doing a eulogy. So we're just doing New York City Council member District 3, which is the Village, Chelsea, and Hell's Kitchen.
That's right.
Gay, and gayer.
Yes. Yeah.
It's pretty gay, your district.
is.
But gesundheit, hate, very nice.
Yes.
Do you know what glatt means?
So that's the most strict form of kosher.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
It's something to do with the intestines or something.
Yes.
Yes.
The lungs.
The lungs.
The
Very
lungs.
good.
Yes.
Very good, Erik. Erik
Wow.
knows wherever you see Erik I follow you on Instagram. So when you show up here, it's like you don't have to catch up.
I've watched this show on Instagram many times.
Wait a second. Have you guys never met before?
We've met
We've met.
many times.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We've met at Asaf Zamir's house for a Hanukkah party. We've met dancing, enjoying ourselves at Fire Island. We on the beach. We see Erik in every.
Erik's out and about.
Out and about, and
Erik's busy.
He's tearing up the city.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, we see each other like every day. So it's like good to see you again.
It's so good. I always the beautiful things you do. Old women, young women. He's helping everybody. No, he's always doing something.
That's my base, the old ladies and the gays.
Old ladies and gays.
With that, you can do anything, really.
Yes.
That means you should be in Miami. What are you? No, always doing sweet things, very Mashiach energy stuff. What's your motivation?
You know, I've thought about this a lot, and taking a step back, like I was in my 20s, I was in my late 20s, and I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I felt like my life was racing by, and I was actually working as a real estate broker, like selling apartments, renting apartments, and I thought, is this what I want to do? Is this what I want my eulogy to be? Like, he rented a lot of apartments.
Oh my God.
So I decided that, I was becoming more and more active in activism. Marriage equality was coming to the fore. This was back in the 2000s. And I decided to just go into public service full time. What I really loved doing was that time when I was doing activism. And decided to try to make as big of an impact as I can while on this planet, which all of our time on this planet so short, comparatively. What are we all going to do to make the most difference?
And you started with HIV/AIDS advocacy work?
Yeah, I was.
How did that start?
Yeah, so I was in the 2000s. I got active politically with LGBT rights and local politics, and a job opened up. A friend of mine called me and said, will you have coffee with me? He worked at the city council as a staffer.
Okay.
So this job opened up at the city council in the community outreach department, being a liaison to the LGBT community and on HIV/AIDS issues. And that was the job that I took, and it was like the first.
But you
day.
ran with it. You went from that. Then you also were on the gay marriage.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
were
went-
a part. You worked from. You worked. That was not a city thing. That was a statewide.
Right. I worked at the city council for 2 years, and then I went to work for Andrew Cuomo when he got elected. I actually was the LGBT person on his campaign when he was running. And then when he got elected, job number one was marriage equality. So a team of us led that effort statewide, actually,
Statewide,
working
yeah.
with activists from like Buffalo to Long Island, and even up where I'm from, we unearthed some gay activists up in the Adirondacks to get all these different communities to like call their state senators, because we needed a Republican-led state senate to pass marriage equality, which had never
What
happened.
year was this?
This was 2011.
2011.
Yeah. But so the Republicans that were sitting in there.
The Republican-led state senate passed marriage equality that year,
Wow.
which we ourselves weren't sure that was going to happen, but
How bad?
it happened. And when we passed marriage equality in New York State, only like 4 states had marriage equality. Within 2 years after New York, all 50 states had marriage equality. It happened so quick. It was
Yeah.
New York was kind of like a dam that broke.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. It was the biggest state that it had it in. It was unbelievable. I remember I was living here.
Where were you when people remember where they were when they?
I
When it
was with my
passed.
friend. I was with my friends Donnie and Jim, who had gotten married in Maine or somewhere else, and I remember them. When that happened, we were sitting together. He's vegan. Donnie Moss, you know him.
Oh yeah.
You know
Yeah,
Donnie
yeah,
Moss.
yeah.
I was sitting with them, and he was making a meal, and by a meal, he had cooked up 3 tomatoes and a mushroom, and we were making a meal
Poor
out
Donnie.
of it.
Don't be.
I know. I'm saying
He's telling
that's
literally
where we
what it
were. I
was.
was eating a
not a
vegan
joke.
mushroom.
Yeah, it's a vegan meal.
I was eating a vegan mushroom with Donnie.
We love
and were
Donnie.
talking
We'll have
about
him on an
how
episode.
this they had to go to a different state to get married, and now here's the difference. In
I
the world.
remember where I was when it passed in 2015. I was in the mailroom at CAA
Wow.
watching the CNN, and I was like literally just like doing something super mundane or something, and I just looked up and it was like nationwide
Yep.
Supreme Court. That was crazy.
It- and then because other states weren't recognizing it, right? Like in the beginning, because
Right.
I was with my 2 girlfriends, and the second it became legal, they ran to go get married, and I just like
Aw.
grabbed like a ring off my finger and gave it
Yeah.
to them so
Aw.
that they would be able to do
Oh,
it.
that's so cute.
I remember that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
never got that ring back. They said they were going to give it back
Yeah.
to me.
You have to give up
They-
ownership of the ring.
I wish I could relive the day marriage equality passed. That night, it was 9:00 on a Friday night of Pride weekend.
Wow.
Wow.
So the whole town exploded. And I was in the Capitol on the Senate floor, which was so cool. But I also wish I could have been in Stonewall and all the bars, and apparently in restaurants, just burst into applause.
Yeah,
like whole
people
dining
just-
rooms.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the day that marriage equality actually kicked in, we passed it in June, and I think the first weddings took place a couple weeks later. And we were down at the Marriage Bureau by City Hall, and there was 1,000 people outside. And every time a couple would come out, 1,000 people would cheer.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was inside with a friend of mine, and we just walked out of the same door, and 1,000 people cheered. And I run into him, we laugh about that.
By the way, anytime I walk anywhere and somebody claps, even if it's for me or not for me, I always just do this. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's amazing. I've been doing a lot of interviews lately, and they keep asking the same questions, things that people could just see on Wikipedia or inside. What are questions that are people not asking you that you want to be asked?
Oh, that's an interesting
They keep asking the same
question.
question over and over, especially questions
Um,
what you can see from other interviews.
Yeah. Can you ask another question? I'll think about that. We'll come back.
Okay. First of all, okay, I'll catch you off. You know,
I love that though. I wish all interviewers would ask that.
yeah,
What
no,
would
they
you
keep
like us
asking the
to ask
same
you?
ones, and it's so. It's
What does
so,
your typical day look like? You just came from City Hall,
Yeah.
the building, City Hall.
One of the
People
cool
still go there?
things about the job is that every day is different. Some days I'll be on Zooms at the desk all day, and then other days I'll just be running around. I was at a hearing this morning that I'm going to go back to after this. It's about the budget. We have budget hearings
right.
on every topic. This is a public safety budget. And later on, I'm going to, at a senior center in the village, I'm going to go, it's what is this, spring equinox? What is the one? The vernal equinox?
Yeah.
They're doing, they're ringing the bells at it's,
That
one
is
thing we have,
so
one
cute.
thing that's so cool is we
Cutting
have,
ribbons
like,
and
the
kissing
hippies.
babies.
Yeah, we have like the original hippies are still around.
Oh wow.
But now they're like seniors in the village, and they love like the chanting and like celebrating the coming of spring. So I bring my guitar,
Oh, that's so cute.
and it's very
That's
cute.
Very
Very
sweet.
cool.
No, he's good. He's good.
What
with
are
Sheikh
what is
energy.
the one issue that everyone in your district sends you the most emails and phone calls about?
Well, I'm
Is it the
assuming- can I-
garbage?
I'm assuming it's the drag queens reading to the kids right now is what seems like it's blowing up. I was hoping to wait before we got
My
into there.
constituents don't care about that at all. Like they're
Yeah, I was going more for the garbage.
I
Oh,
thought it was going to be the rat.
Of like the
The rats?
sanitation.
See, I got it. The rats.
The rats and the
People. One of the cool things about being in this role is I get to work on the things that piss me off as a New Yorker. Things that
Yeah.
I really hate. And one of those things is like the trash on the street and the graffiti vandalism and just the fact that we could be doing so much better as a city.
right.
And I've got to work on that a lot.
What's with the rats? I read a lot
Rats
about the rats.
is
They seem.
that there are so many different things contributing to that.
Mhm.
That the main factor contributing to rats is just the amount of food in the trash that we're putting out for the rats all the time.
On a buffet.
Right.
On a
Literally.
buffet.
A rat buffet.
Yeah, we put out food for the rats
That's so gross.
in every possible way, and that's why I
The
talk
rats
about-
in the city go to a bar mitzvah every night. They have a
Yeah.
bar mitzvah every single night.
A
a good city
And
to
smorgasbord.
be
you're
a rat
sitting
in
there in
right now.
meetings and people discussing these rats, and you have to pretend you don't want to vomit.
There's people on the Lower East Side, and this drives me absolutely insane. And I have to tell myself, Leo, don't engage, do not engage, do not engage. But there's like 2 or 3 people in our neighborhood who
Yeah.
feed the birds and like
It's a horrible thing.
and
to do.
squirrels, and I just want to. You're feeding rats, like that's what's
They-
happening. You're feeding the rats. Thank you very much,
crumbs.
and they're putting it right in front of the apartment. Like
Yeah.
I have seen rats in the city that are so large and well fed. I mean, just like almost in a suit with like a little top hat.
So I was told like this: even though you think you've seen a bigger rat,
Yeah.
it's not. All the rats in New York are Norwegian, something the descent, like you, and they are all one size. But you always think the one you saw is the biggest one that's ever been, but they're all one size. Someone taught me
There
that.
was they're Norway rats.
Norway rats.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like, sir.
wow,
Yeah.
But they're chutzpahdik. They have chutzpah.
Yeah.
They
They'll walk
walk.
right
They're
up
not
to you.
hiding away. They're looking at you when you come out of the subway. Yeah, what? Yeah, they don't
They're
care.
extremely intelligent and
Yeah.
extremely hardy, and they only live a short amount of time. But in their lifetimes, they have dozens and dozens of babies.
They also-
multiple litters a
Yeah,
year.
they also teach. There was just a huge piece. I think it was in the New Yorker about this. They teach their kids how to only jump into garbage cans that have plastic bags in them because they can hold on to the
Stop.
plastic.
stop.
I'm not.
Okay, we have
That's
to
a
change the
good-
subject.
and
we
true
are
New
not
Yorker.
we
We have
did
to-
not invite Erik Bottcher here to talk about rats.
If
in
you
the
really
city.
want to get into some gross stuff,
Yeah.
it's the connection between what's happening with people not picking up after their dogs right now.
That
I'm
is
not
a
gonna
huge
go there.
issue.
Oh my God.
But it connects to the rat issue, and we'll just keep moving.
Ew.
Erik, what happened after COVID? COVID hit the city. everyone got a dog and no one's picking up after their dogs. Blatantly not picking up, especially the small
Yeah.
dogs. They think it's such a small piece of caca, they just leave it there.
Yeah.
It's so gross, but what
It's gotten really
It's gotten so
significantly bad.
Yeah.
Can we pass a bill that everybody who doesn't pick up after their dogs get euthanized?
Well,
I think the people not picking up should be euthanized.
some apartment buildings, you have to submit a DNA sample of your dog.
No.
Yeah. And if they'll test pieces of shit that people leave around, and if it matches your dog, your leases can be terminated.
Yeah.
That, they do that in a lot of like planned communities, like gated communities.
Right.
When you
They
move
euthanize the
you
dogs?
provide this, and a stool sample for your dog, and
Okay.
they will test it. And good for them.
Good for them.
We did a campaign last year that I'm resurrecting in the next couple weeks called "There Is No Poop Fairy," and we did link kiosk advertisements, online advertisements. There is no poop fairy. If you don't pick up after your dog, it'll not get
I saw you-
magically cleaned up.
Yeah.
You track it. You posted a chart on your Instagram about how it gets tracked into the house.
That is
It-
so
so
disgusting.
gross.
Yeah,
Like-
they did a study of people's carpets in New York City, and they found
Yeah.
A lot of
a lot of that
fecal matter.
Yeah, I'm gonna just
throughout
not-
the apartment.
I'm just gonna not submit our rug and just.
Just set it
Our
on
rug
fire.
is clean. We take our shoes
Yeah,
off as
shoes
soon as we
off.
get in the
We have an
house.
amazing housekeeper.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we
Shoes
take
off.
our shoes off. That was the key
Okay, but we
takeaway.
can't just crap on New York City.
Yeah, I want people watching.
Yes,
to move
we
to
okay. New York City is
No, no, no,
still
no,
lit.
nobody else
It's
needs
still,
to move here.
You can't get a reservation. Let's go to this. You can't get a reservation in any restaurant. I know you have nothing to
that
do
true?
with that. Is that true?
Is it?
Eric's
don't
like,
make
I can always get a
reservations.
reservation.
I don't like making reservations. I like to show up and make my mind at the last minute.
Don't the not to go back to the rats, but those outdoor dining structures can't be helping the situation.
When they're poorly maintained,
Which all
don't.
90% of them.
yeah. So what we're looking at now is legislation to come up with a new system that would reform all that and really get rid of anything that's not very nice.
Is there any I feel like they should be inspected like the buildings are inspected, because some of them have like wires being run through and heating lamps, and I'm like, this
Most
is a
of them will
danger.
go away under the new legislation, like the sheds
Yes.
with the walls and the roof. We're looking at like open air dining seasonally,
Okay.
and you have to get a permit and pay for it.
Cute.
We don't want to get away. We don't want to go back to having no outdoor dining, virtually no outdoor dining like we used to have.
Right.
But we also recognize that the current system
Yeah, that's gross.
isn't
It's
working
disgusting,
great.
Yeah.
I'm-
I saw them ripping up one of them, and what the guy had underneath was carcasses of rats and all the garbage that swooped in with the rains. But okay, let's.
I won't make a reservation. I won't sit in them anymore.
God, my
I'm not
husband won't
eating
sit in them either.
I'm not sitting. I used to, like in the pandemic, but like I'm not sitting in the gutter eating dinner. I'm sorry.
I'm thinking of like all of the things that people must be fetching to him about. All,
know.
like parking.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
that must be a
sure.
huge one.
It's not
I'd
an
like
easy job you have to be people
Yeah.
just but like nonstop complaining.
the it's great when it's things that we can work on together and make progress on. The tough things is when the issue is something that's like so much bigger than New York, like these huge societal issues that
Right.
we're looking at right now, that I as a city council member, it's hard for us to like actually affect in a real way. But a lot of this stuff, we're able to work on it locally and really make progress. Like we're doing, last week I announced some bills to address all the scaffolding in New York City.
Yes.
There's so much more scaffolding in New York than any other city. And people say, well, New York's an old city.
No.
So is London and
Yeah,
Paris
there's
and
no
these other
scaffolding
cities.
there.
You don't see it like we do here. So we're working on some bills to reform that kind of stuff.
It really, our building was for years. had
Literally years.
Literally years.
Literally
had
years.
scaffolding. They were doing the pinging.
Pinging, yeah, I
Pinging
don't know.
when they
That's what
drill
they
into
tell
the
us, but we're
walls
just putzes and
with-
just like, okay.
And this, we're like, okay, 4 years, and they just recently took it off of our building, and it's as though the building just goes,
Yeah.
It's such a difference.
Yeah.
You didn't realize it.
It's
Especially
gross.
it wasn't the cute scaffolding with the lights and it's all white, because there's now cute scaffolding. There's also
They're
is
gentrifying
the urban
scaffolding.
umbrella, they call it. Yes.
Urban
Yeah.
umbrella.
Yeah,
It's-
when it's the white.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
Tall
The
and,
power of branding.
yeah.
it makes a big difference.
It's not. You'll see the building has an urban umbrella next to it. That's mine.
It's insane how things in New York. So I've been living in the Lower East Side. I bought my first apartment 2004.
It's a good investment.
Very good investment. And it's on the corner of Grand and Clinton, right? And when I was there, this neighborhood was the quietest neighborhood in the world. And you had 3 blocks away was
Party neighborhood.
Orchard and Ludlow.
I
and-
lived on Orchard in Rivington for 10 years.
Oh wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It was lit. But I made 2 blocks and made a left. I'm in the quietest neighborhood. And then somehow they made the entrance onto the Williamsburg Bridge right where our house is.
Oh, then the traffic came?
And then all the traffic, and so now all the cars turning are beeping because they can't turn because someone's walking, and it in moments your quality of life
Yeah.
dropped
Yeah.
so severe.
I want to get a
You
paintball
should
gun
talk
and just
to
like.
your council member, Christopher Marte, and ask for a meeting with him and the Department of Transportation to see if there's any changes they could make to the traffic pattern to reverse that.
I'm sure there are people in our board and have done that. I don't know where.
That's going to be the new platform of the show. We're just going to bring people on the show to change.
We're
the
gonna
thing.
kvetch.
I don't, you know.
They, you know what? You could talk to your board and they could say, you know what? We didn't think about talking to our council member.
I'm sure this
It happens all the
this is
time.
a
People
very-
just don't think about it.
Really. It's worth a chance. It's worth
Yeah.
it's worth a go.
And I'll talk to him too and ask him to help because
Get on that, please. Let's.
Even though we're not your district, we
Yeah.
appreciate the
No,
help.
Our
but eventually he'll
traffic,
be our mayor.
it's a
So we're-
huge.
Well, that was my question. I mean, the $1,000,000 question is, will you be president one day? Is
I
there
mean, look at
hope?
him.
Look
I
at
mean,
him.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm
Well, hold
banking
but
on.
I
Forget
recently found out
mayor.
that you're Swedish. You're a
My
Swedish.
grandfather's from Sweden. How did you
Okay.
know?
How do I know? I did my.
Oh, you Googled.
I Googled. No, I Googled, but I also I follow you on Instagram.
Wait, I said on Instagram
It
last
was literally
week,
yeah.
I had a Swedish delegation from City Hall come,
Uh-huh.
and they are fascinating, the Swedes.
yeah.
Yeah, they
They've
are.
got it together. It's
Oh yeah.
There's Jews in Sweden, and you know how we know?
How?
Because we've sold merch there. We have sold cups
We'll
and
be there
T-shirts
soon.
more than
We'll-
we
they
we'll
thought.
order it and it gets shipped there.
It gets
Yeah.
shipped there, yeah. But it's funny just to see because you posted yourself with these Swedes, and usually it's you talking to some Hi, Mrs. Feinstein. Thank you for here's some food, or some Black or Asian people from your district. All of a sudden, oh, he's with his people. Look at him. He's a blonde, tall people. There he is. That's one of the questions. So is a goal being mayor?
I don't know. That is not a fun job.
Doesn't seem fun.
That is a very difficult job. The mayor of New York City, they get blamed for everything.
Right,
They get credit for nothing.
right.
And if you look at all the history of all the mayors in New York,
Yeah.
they almost never go on to like
Do
higher
other
office
things.
because
Oh, wow.
they make decisions that piss off so many people. Another job like that is the speaker of the city council. Only the most difficult things come to your desk.
Oh, really? I didn't think about that.
I skipped mayor. I went right to president.
Yeah, it's right. It's right. She sees you as president. We are.
Now, can we talk about the drag queen
Wait
story?
a second. One last thing. Okay, now
Just
a
trying
lot
to
of our
keep us on track here.
listeners maybe don't live in your district, but definitely own buildings in your district, or their
Hilarious.
husbands own buildings in your district. You recently had lunch with one of them. I'm not going to mention the name here, but obviously, there's the law. What happened in 2019, the HSTPA.
Don't know what that is.
You don't know what that is? Where if somebody comes out of a rent control apartment,
Oh,
they can't
yeah.
they can't redo the apartment and sell it at market value,
Yeah.
which is insanity. in one way. I don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I'm not. I believe
I
that
got
people.
arrested
Oh,
in the Albany Capitol in doing civil disobedience to get that law passed.
To get that law passed.
Yes, I got
Ooh.
arrested blocking the door to the Governor Cuomo's office after I was no longer working for him, trying to get that law passed.
Okay. So
And I'll explain why.
explain. Right.
So
I want to
Yeah.
tell you, I've seen apartments in New York. I've seen apartments in New York where people can't even imagine how people live. Many of them were Chinese people living in apartments that were unbelievable. And the landlord owns the building, and they're paying $200. Above them is a redone apartment paying $3,000, and then some of them were there. The poor people, the people living there, are in a bad situation, really horrible situation, and they're not even taking the landlord. The person that got them the apartment is taking advantage of them. Their own maybe Chinese person.
Okay, you can't just make sweeping generalizations like that.
I'm not,
just
but
because
I'm
of the one instance that you know about.
It's not one. I've been to a few different buildings in Chinatown.
All right.
So I'm talking about in Chinatown. I'm sure it's happening other places as well. But these poor people, and then, once it is legally done, they should be able to change the apartment. This is a free economy. Am I right or wrong? Explain to me.
let's look at my district, for example, Village, Chelsea, Hell's Kitchen.
Okay.
The middle class core in our community, the people who actually live there their whole lives, who have their kids in school and don't make that much money, but they belong to the block association, the this, the that. The majority of them are people who live in rent controlled or rent stabilized apartments. We have many, many people who live there their whole lives who aren't, but a lot of them like come and go, and it's a very expensive district. We saw during the years when rent-controlled apartments were allowed to be taken off the market, we saw tens of thousands of those apartments disappear. So in the Village, for example, which used to have so many artists, musicians, activists, it's the Village that people know from books. That Village is no longer in existence. The West Village is now a billionaire's playground. Not millionaires, but like we have billionaires taking these blocks. We have all these row houses and buying like 4 of them and making a single family house. Now, I felt and I believe that we had to stop that hemorrhaging of rent stabilized apartments, because these apartments are what are keeping this community together and are keeping the Village and other neighborhoods a place where like people want to live, not these communities full of pied-à-terres.
They're also keeping the city, like that's what makes up like the amazingness of New York is
why
like
we want to live here.
Yeah, that's why people are coming here, like the artists and the music and
Right.
I'm not taking sides of the landlord or of the tenants. Not that we have somebody sitting here who's a comedian that makes a joke about how she took over her grandmother's rent control apartment. Oh, you forgot about that.
No. But wait a second though.
Yeah.
Wait a second. You're illustrating the point though. My father grew up in Stuyvesant Town in a rent control apartment. They lived there for 60 years, my grandparents. When my grandparents died, and the joke is I did what any good grieving granddaughter would do, is I immediately began squatting in her rent control apartment.
Right.
You did that to care for her and be with her,
Right.
not to get the apartment.
Right.
She was 6 feet under when she went in there.
I know. I lived with her before. I moved in.
You have to overlap.
I did overlap. But the thing is, the truth is that that apartment should have been mine. I should have gotten that apartment. And the truth is that Tishman Speyer bought that complex. It was built for working class people. My grandmother was a teacher and my grandfather was also working class. And they got rid of me. And they're also trying to get rid of people who have been there and turn them into these, $7,000 apartments.
Right.
And it's crazy.
For the New York City economy to work, you have to have receptionists, nurses.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
can't all have to
Teachers.
drive an hour and a half away. Now, that having been said, we do have now a problem to solve for, and that is when an apartment becomes vacant and you now have to rent it stabilized to someone else. Sometimes there's $20,000-$30,000 worth of work needed.
Correct.
And if the rent is set at, $800 a month, we have a lot of landlords who aren't doing that. They're leaving those apartments empty. And that's a public policy problem for us to solve for. So there's a real conversation on how do we fix that and get those apartments rented, because we can't have, in the housing crisis we're in, we can't have buildings with all these vacant rent stabilized apartments with 60,000 people in the shelter.
So instead of doing the work needed to the apartment to then not get their money back, they're just leaving it empty.
Right.
Now, that's the rent stabilization discussion. What I've been fighting for, in addition to that, is the creation of new housing, because we haven't been creating as a city nearly enough new housing. So the supply and the demand is so far out of whack that's why the average price of an apartment in New York in Manhattan is $5,000 a month.
For a one-bedroom.
For a one-bedroom.
Yeah.
Insane.
No, because there's people listening to this in the middle of America that don't understand that. They think an apartment 3 bedrooms like you see in a Woody Allen movie.
Right.
No, it's a 1-bedroom.
Small.
Yeah. The future in New York is in danger if we become a city where it's only for the very wealthy, except for the few who win a lottery to get a rent-stabilized apartment. No one wants to live in that city. So they estimate that we've got to build 500,000 new units of housing over the next decade to keep up with the population growth.
Where?
Because
on the water. We're seeing people building on. We walked to
The Tin Building?
the Tin Building, a discovery we were blown away by, which really shows you how amazing New
Seaport.
York City, the seaport. Just when you think the rats and the garbage and the dog crap is, New York can shine when it shines like nobody else. The Tin Building,
cool.
Tin Building, so cool, so
Yeah.
chic, so something that could only happen in New York City.
It's really cool.
It's so cool, and
It's on the pier.
It's on the pier, and we see the people are just building into the water now, right?
Here's where we need to build, really. If you look out into the expanse of New York City, we have huge swaths of the city that are zoned for single-family homes that prohibit the construction of apartment buildings, even any multi-unit housing. And a lot of them are right next to subway stations. That's because at one point in the last century, these neighborhoods around the city said, we're done growing, we need to stop. And there's a racial justice aspect to that also, because we have the opportunity to build multi-unit housing to serve all these folks who are homeless and priced out of the market, the vast majority of which are people of color. We have many neighborhoods that are predominantly white neighborhoods, not just in New York, but in the suburbs and elsewhere, who have been fighting any attempts to have any multi-unit housing. And I believe that if we are going to plan for another century of growth, we should be building density around transportation hubs, including the LIRR stations where those park and rides. We should be building apartment buildings where those park and ride, those huge parking lots, put the parking in the new buildings. That could be a great option for people to work in the city and live right there.
That's a good idea.
Right there.
They don't want to do it. There's huge fights. The suburbs are pushing back.
Yeah.
And AOC and others have actually, it's become like a progressive thing. Like we have to get these communities to build out there.
Okay.
Interesting.
And I'm so scared of asking you any question that people keep asking you on interviews, but I feel like it's just well, this audience is hearing it from you. But now let's get to the juice, the flesh, the meat of this. What's happening with you and the drag queens and the storytelling? Oh my God.
We have to give some context here.
Well, let's build it up. Explain
Okay,
what's been going on, Leo.
It's your podcast.
No, it has not been my podcast for a while. I thought you wanted to handle this one. Well,
It's the Leo show.
it is the Leo show.
Nothing is the Leo show. So my understanding is that you attended a drag queen story hour, and people did not like that, to say the least.
And we should tell what.
What is a drag queen story hour?
I personally have never been to a drag queen story hour. From what it sounds like, it's where a drag queen goes to a local library or community center and reads to children.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I have a kid, and I have friends who take their kids to these story hours. So
Okay.
that's
drag queen story hour.
yeah, that's
Okay.
literally all it is. You have a drag queen reading a kid's book to a bunch of kids.
I didn't disparage drag queen story hour yet.
I don't think that you did.
Yeah.
I'm just yet.
Yet.
I'm just telling the audience in case they don't know, because I think in the news they start saying it's this, it's that. That is all that it is. It is a drag queen reading a children's book to a group of children of that age of the book. Is that accurate? Yeah.
Okay.
And you went to this event, and there's all sorts of groups that have names like Gays Against Groomers and things like that, who
Guardians of Divinity.
crazy,
Wow.
yeah. And they went
Proud
to
Boys
your
are involved.
Proud Boys are involved. Okay.
And even as recently as this week, right? There was yesterday there was an incident, but they also like camped out in front of your house, like in front of your apartment.
Yeah. So I went in on to a drag story hour in December, and it was at the library down the street in Chelsea, and it was a Saturday morning. I just kind of biked over there, not really thinking it was going to be that eventful, but when I got there, there was like dozens of protesters with signs outside with the most disgusting, vicious, groomers, child molesters, pedophiles, just screaming at the families trying to go in. And and there were some counter protesters there with like rainbow umbrellas, like trying to shield the families. I filmed these protesters and put their signs on Instagram, and
some of them were really just
it
vitriol.
went viral because people hadn't really seen it. They had heard about the protest, but they hadn't seen how vicious it is. And I think the fact that it was in Chelsea, New York City, really shocked people.
Absolutely.
Well, the people who, they did not like it, these groups. And within hours, I started getting calls on my personal phone number threatening me. You made a big mistake. We're coming for you.
Yeah, you posted one of them on your story. I heard it. It was the voicemail. It's really crazy.
They came on Monday. They came to my. 2 days later, they came to our office and tried to like force their way into our district office, and we were like barricaded in the office for an hour where they were screaming like, "Come out, let us in!" Groomer.
Oh my
what are you?
God.
Yeah, and that night. Oh, and then they vandalized the hallway in our office.
Insane.
It's like Bottcher, Bitcher. They have these really juvenile.
Yeah, it's not creative.
Like things I haven't
It's
been
not the
called
most.
since
Yeah,
middle school.
I don't feel like they're the most sophisticated.
Botcher, bitcher, butcher. Yeah. Anyway, actually, it's like bringing back middle school. Like, anyway, then that night I was at a menorah lighting at CBST synagogue and turned my phone off, and afterwards, I turn my phone on. I see all these missed calls from my neighbors.
Oh wow.
I knew that meant they were at my apartment building.
Wow.
So when I got there, there was police tape around the front of the building. The place there were these squad cars. You would have thought that there was like a triple homicide in the building, the way they had the place cordoned off. And there was graffiti written all over the sidewalk, like Erik Bottcher is a pedophile and a groomer and a child predator, and come out, Erik, that kind of thing. And 2 of the protesters were arrested for going into the building. A 3rd one was arrested for assaulting my neighbor, and it made like big news because people were just shocked that it had gone that far, that it had been taken to that level.
Someone threw something at your neighbor too, like they.
Yeah, they like shoved my neighbor into a car.
Oh wow.
That is so.
And the fact that it was in
awful.
Chelsea, New York City.
It began to be not about the drag queens telling stories to kids. It became to
don't
just
think
to
it's-
be here's some hate.
Yeah, I don't
Here's
think it's
some
ever really. I think the drag issue is just a vessel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
another way of people attacking our community and
Yep.
kind of rehashing these tropes about gays being predatory, trying to recruit children, things that our community's been attacked for thousands of
Yeah.
years.
But now
This
it's
is
even
just-
within the community it's being attacked.
There's,
That's
you have
are they just
these-
crazies? Are they just crazies?
They are far right wing Trump. By the way, all these same people
Yeah.
are Trump. They go to all the Trump rallies.
Of course.
The same people who were arrested at my building were shutting down vaccine clinics. They were protesting
my
Oh,
God.
vaccine clinics.
it's
They went to the apartment of the health commissioner's house and like threw eggs. I mean,
Yeah.
they're really unhinged. This is just the latest thing that the internet is telling them to be angry
to
about.
be angry about. Wow.
It's really sick. I mean, and now that there are laws that are, I mean, I don't know if they're being passed in New York, but all over the country about that, like drag is becoming illegal, right? You're not allowed to quote unquote.
Tennessee passed a bill saying you can't do drag if there's like children present. Meanwhile, so Mrs. Doubtfire would have been
Yeah, it's
Yeah. it's,
protested.
Yeah.
Woo, wong,
everywhere.
foo.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy's half of his movies. He's the grandmother and the aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
somebody.
It's so stupid.
It's so stupid. It's a vessel of hate. It's just sinat chinam, just a pure hatred, just for the purpose of hate.
Yeah.
It's literally the opposite of Mashiach energy. It's so incredible that that's happening. I never really got my bearings of what telling. I never thought about drag queens telling kids stories, and why. Why is the drag queen telling the kids story? But I remembered, this hit me last night. When we were growing up, we were close with our cousins, and my father would read to my 2 younger cousins. They were very, very young, and my father's Israeli. And he didn't read well, and he didn't, but he would see the picture and start making up stories. And my youngest cousin loved it. He knew every time he'd read the story to him, it'd be a different story. And the cousin that was just a little bit older than him, he goes, no, that's not what it says there. And the younger one would be like, be quiet, don't interrupt the way he tells the story.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when a drag queen tells a story, it's a lot more colorful than anybody else telling a story, and would get the child a little more interested in.
The way they look, it's like kind of like a clown. It's like a dressed up, colorful,
Sparkly thing.
sparkly thing.
But also, it's about
Yeah.
exposing children to all different kinds of people at a young age.
Okay, so that's where they get the indoctrination part from.
Yeah.
But what?
And
But
guess
why?
what? If you don't want to do it,
Don't bring your kids.
go.
Right.
Listen, right?
For your friends, they should have the right to do
Right.
it.
I saw actually online a picture said there's only one group of men that get dressed up in funny outfits that try to have sex with children. And then there was a picture of like all of like the high priests of like the Catholic Church juxtaposed by a bunch
Famously.
of drag queens.
Yeah.
There's hypocrisy.
Yeah.
It's
There's
enraging.
hypocrisy.
I have to
There's the outrage over the thousands of children who have been molested in the Catholic Church.
100%.
Where have these same people? Have they ever expressed outrage over that?
No. I mean,
my takeaway is you've summed it up. These people are these are hate people,
Yeah.
and they found a topic, drag queens reading to kids. I don't know what the next one will be, but they will. They're wired to just hate, where there's even a little bit of like a room to just pop. Oh, we can put hate in there. Let's just hate and cause trouble.
I also think it's a reaction to the recognition that they're losing. This next generation of these upcoming generations of young people are so open-minded.
yeah.
And their approach towards gender and sexuality is so different.
That's right.
And, in high school, they're so much open to be, they might not even say, well, I'm not ready to say if I'm gay or straight yet. That was not the case for me.
No.
But these people are, on the right, are reacting very violently towards that. And they're doing everything they can to pull that back.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. It's true. You look at like, the kids who are my son's age, and that's total.
How old?
He's 9, but it's, they don't even think about it like the way, it's not even like really an issue, like it's not even something that's like considered. And that's
not going to be something that they wouldn't otherwise
exactly,
be. They're not
of
gonna
course.
Be a drag queen.
Right.
Because it's like you take them to the Big Apple Circus and they're going to be a clown because they saw a clown.
Right.
Or an elephant.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if drag queens are going to be happy with you making comparisons.
I
with
know
clowns all
it.
the time.
Sorry.
They're not clowns. Let's
Stop it.
They're
They're
a different.
performers. They're the most
Listen,
talented.
clownery is an artistic form.
Yeah, but
people go to clown school.
Yeah, but I don't think drag queens can be. I mean, that's like you're not really calling them clowns. Like they're
Definitely
artists.
Not
They're
calling drag queens clowns.
to be clear.
For the record, but when these things happen where people show up at your house and they call your phone and they threaten your life basically, like how do you feel walking around the city? Like how do you separate all that personal stuff from you getting to work and doing your job?
I felt unsafe this whole time. They wanted to give me like a panic button for my apartment. They wanted to.
I want one.
I know. I was
Yeah,
like,
can you
let's
get
see.
Wait.
I figured I'd hit it by mistake and it would be.
I would love.
I never felt unsafe.
Even when they were at your house, and you just try not to take it personally.
There was one point where, that night actually, when like everyone left, I was like, oh shit, like I'm in my apartment by myself.
Yeah.
What if they come back?
Wow.
It was just a second though. I haven't really felt that unsafe personally. I don't mind getting attacked by these idiots. What's hard in politics for me is getting attacked. If I get attacked by like constituents who are like, you're doing a terrible job on this issue, something that I actually
Verbal attack.
care.
You mean?
Yeah, people who I care about their opinion. That's when it really bothers me.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. That hurts more. Not these Meshuggah, not these crazy people that are attacking you.
I know Meshuggah.
And I should. Yeah, you do.
And sometimes
you flow very nicely into the Jewish world when I've seen you in there.
Thank you.
You show up. There's his yarmulke. He's gonna light the candle or not light. He knows which direction the candle should be lit from.
That I don't know.
You pulled
Just
it
go
off
with
at
it.
a
Just go
South's
with it.
house. You killed it. You were like,
Yes.
oh, right in there. Is he
Right.
Jewish? Is he Jewish? I go, he's not Jewish. Look, he's
An ally.
I'm still stuck on the lung thing with the intestines and the glatt kosher. I have
Oh,
no
let's
idea
not.
what you
That-
guys
Let's
are
he
get a
needs
talking.
to
butcher
know.
I don't know what
for
it
that.
is.
He needs to know
You
that
know what glatt kosher?
No, I have no idea what you guys are
glatt,
talking
the word
about.
glatt means smooth. Glatt is smooth.
Okay.
And when they after they shecht, they kill the cow, they rip up the side and they go into where the lungs are and they feel the ventricles if they're smooth. If there's abrasions, it's not glatt. It's not
Because
smooth.
blood got in there
and
or
then
something, right?
then it's not kosher. And most times it goes to the halal because they don't care about the lungs. That's just in the scope of
Wow.
things.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not
That's
know
good.
any
So
of that.
when you hear people say, so this is good for you, are these French fries glatt kosher? You're an idiot if you say something like that.
'Cause there's no
you
meat
can't check
involved?
the lungs of a French fry.
Right.
Only meat can be glatt kosher, and obviously
it.
not chicken or fish. It's just a cow, a lamb, that kind of stuff. So that's a
Chicken
good one
can't
for
be
you to
glatt
keep-
kosher?
Will
Remember,
people ask that? Are these glatt kosher? Would anyone ever say
there's
that?
dumb people who say these French fries are glatt kosher. They can't be. There's no lungs to check on a French fry.
Wait,
They're
Leo.
kosher.
Leo just asked about a chicken. Can a chicken be glatt?
No,
kosher?
actually, let's scratch that. I don't care about chickens, but there's a question. There's a question you haven't asked a few of our guests because I was going through some recent episodes that we recorded and usually end with a question that we kind of forgot about. I don't know if you want to bring it back.
Yeah, I think we could bring it back for today.
Yeah.
Who's your rabbi?
Sharon Kleinbaum.
That was good. Nice and fast.
Is she an
Is
actual
she an
rabbi?
actual rabbi?
No, that's not necessarily what the
It's
question
your
means.
guru. But the fact that he answered so fast.
Yeah, that
I
was
like
good.
that.
And that it was
So
Sharon
what would you-
Kleinbaum was
What are
good.
the questions you would ask Sharon? What a great, perfect name for that. For this, perfect. It couldn't have been better. Go ahead.
Well, would I ask Sharon? if she were here right now?
It basically means who's somebody you go to for spiritual advice if you have some kind of like a dilemma. What should I do? Like who would be the rabbi? It doesn't have to be a rabbi. It
Yeah.
could be my mom, my dad, my.
Yeah.
So, but I like that you said whoever this
Yeah.
person was.
I've been asked that. There's a handful of people who, out in the political world, that I'll call and just get their read on something. Current, former elected officials, consultants, and then also like, depending on the issue, I'll call like a person in the community. So like, what do you think I should do? And knowing that that's kind of a good barometer for how people in the neighborhood would. I'm always asking people on the street
What the vibe is?
what they think about things, and it's my informal poll. What do you think about outdoor dining? What do you think about congestion pricing? What do you think about this? And that helps inform me a lot.
I might be able to help you with information. There's this thing I do that we book after shows. It's called meet and greet. Where I do the show, people come up, say hello, exchange a few words, take a picture. But in that quick exchange, you can get the pulse of everything happening in a community, in Jewish life in their community, and all. It's like they come with you with here's what my thing is, what's yours, I say something nice. It's a very nice interaction. I love the meet and greet.
Take a photo.
Photo in the meantime too, and then you hear like, and that's Leo. That's Leo, and it's a very meet and greet are very.
What would you say
informative.
to young people listening to this who want to get involved somehow in local advocacy or politics, even, who it feels like a very big, overwhelming thing? Like, what would be a baby step for them?
This is advice I give often because I get asked this a lot, and this is the advice that I wish I had given myself, and that is just start by going to things and being present at events. And it could be your local Democratic club, it could be like a fundraiser for an elected official, it could be a rally, it could be anything in the political world. Just go and be present. And if you're really serious about getting into politics, getting a job in politics, you want to go and make relationships and contacts, because you don't have to do anything special. Just go and be there, be present, because so few people. Everyone is online, ready to take on the world, but you'll have an organizing meeting on an issue, and there'll be 4 people there because people don't go there. But if you're the 5th person there, wow, that's a big deal. I will never forget you as a young person who comes. It's hard to get young people involved in politics. We do these buses.
Yeah.
We did buses all last fall out knocking on doors for congressional candidates in Nassau County. I think I was always the youngest person on the bus. It's hard to get young people to actually do something out in the field. But when there's a job available in government and you apply for it, this doesn't apply to young people only, it applies to anyone. If you apply for the job, they're going to be sitting across from you and they're going to be like, well, you seem great, but where were you when I was like running for re-election last year? We needed volunteers. I see you live in the neighborhood. Or I could go, oh, yeah, I remember you from that one phone bank we did. You're hired.
Wow.
Versus another person.
Sticking out from the crowd.
That's it. Yeah.
Wait, no.
What?
What's the question that nobody asks you that they wish that you wish
wow,
you did?
that's a callback, Periel.
Yeah, something good.
He was like, I was trying to get out of answering that, actually.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I almost never get asked about
Dog poop.
No, dog poop he gets all day long.
Yeah, I'm sure he gets pictures.
What
of
is?
him.
Or
what's an issue you feel like you do a lot of work on, but gets less
do comedy.
chatter?
I do comedy. I'm doing it. I really now I'm focused. I want Mashiach energy. I want to bring unity, laughter, happiness into the world. That's it. I'm flying tomorrow to Cleveland, and from Cleveland to Montreal, from Montreal to Toronto to do joke. Yes, it's work, it's money, thank God. But I'm hoping at all those locations there's somebody who needed a laugh and needed it, and just some kind of messianic energy. You know, you've seen it on the Mashiach is here. You've seen it on the boasts on the. I believe it's here. Just needs to be brought up. Yeah. And so what's driving Erik Bottcher? What are you? What's there's something behind there?
I rarely get asked about my guitar lessons that I'm taking, and I never get asked to perform at events.
We're gonna get to your first gig.
No,
I'm available.
Periel just did a bridal shower. You could have opened for her there.
100%. I just performed at a bridal shower. We would have loved to have you playing guitar.
Performed?
Mm-hmm.
Should we do a variety show?
Absolutely. Do a variety show and bring Erik. What's your song? What's if you right now had the
if
guitar,
we had to if you had to play
right now?
I'm learning Bohemian Rhapsody on the
Okay,
guitar.
I am fully putting you on the next comedy show that I
put him on Deli Laughs.
On Deli Laughs.
I'm going
You're
to.
getting
will get me to practice.
You are booked.
I'm not good, but I think that's okay.
That's the most endearing
That's
thing.
the attitude.
No, you can't be good. You can't be as handsome as you are. Tall, blonde, beautiful white teeth. And be a good guitar player. Something has to. He's working on his guitar. He's working on his guitar. Everything else is great.
Okay, so he's gonna be at the next Deli Laughs.
Yeah,
you can't back out now.
Yeah,
make a funny song.
April 30th, I think. I'm gonna talk to your scheduler.
Yeah,
it gives me time to get good at guitar.
Yeah, or just be real. It's so good. That's it. I don't know. How can people find you besides your guitar? How would they reach you?
Instagram,
Erik Bottcher.
Bottcher, EBOTTCHER. Same on Twitter, Facebook, and you can sign up for my email list. I'm really big on digital communications, social media, our email newsletter. We have 80,000 people on it.
Wow.
And we're always sending out useful, informative things, because there's no, like, local media is decimated. The local papers don't really cover what the city council does like they used to. No one really watches the 6 o'clock evening news anymore. So to really reach people, it's all about these other channels. So
Absolutely.
follow us there.
Okay. Yeah. No one watches New York One News anymore, do they?
I do.
Are they still there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love New York One News.
If you put a gun to my head in front of our television and said, make New York One News show up on this TV, I would.
I don't think we have. We do
Not-
have
I
it.
would
We
be
have
not in
spectrum.
luck.
Yeah, we do have
Just
it.
say, Alexa, play New York One.
No, that's cute.
That's cute.
we
That's
don't
not
have.
happening in our house.
Who's afraid of
I'm-
Alexa?
Okay, I'm gonna put it, what's going on with you?
I'm at Periel Ashenbrand on Instagram, and I have a show, 2 shows in Scarsdale. Just go on my Instagram. You can.
I've
get
done that
everything
room. It's
there.
a fun room. It's quaint. It's tight. You feel the laughter. It's a very, very good room. ModiLive.com. By the time this airs,
Vancouver, Seattle, San Francisco. Seattle, we added a matinee show because the first one sold out. So
a nice
please,
early show.
please,
for
it's a
the-
nice Sunday matinee. It's a nice
Early bird.
activity. It's a school night. You can go see the show and then go to bed. Seattle, San Francisco, LA. If you're listening to this in LA, there are only like a handful of seats left, but they're the VIP seats in the front. And the reason why I think they're left is because you have to click the VIP package, not the regular ticket link. It's somehow, I'm working on the promoter to fix this, but you don't see it when you click the regular ticket link. So go to the landing page and click the VIP packages, and you'll have access to like whole rows. Otherwise, it looks like the theater is sold out, but it's because this little strip in the front is
I
available.
want to tell you something. I received from the mayor. Mayor De Blasio made a proclamation day, June 28th
I
or
think it's
July 28th, 2018 was Mordechai Modi Rosenfeld Day.
Oh, wow.
You know, during the summer they have that like.
That's why they changed the colors on the Empire State Building that day.
yeah,
Yeah. So they
exactly.
So every year in the summertime, the mayor's house has like the Greek week, the Puerto Rican week, the Asian, whatever, and they honor somebody. So my year was Ricky, the Puerto Rican singer
Ricky Martin.
and Olivia Dukakis was for the Greek, and for the Jewish was Modi.
That's great.
And I think the next Jewish proclamation week they should give Leo, the Jew of New York, make him a day after that. Leo has done
any
more for the Jewish
ancestry at
community.
all?
Me?
Yeah.
Not a single blessed
No,
drop.
you got 2%.
Have you
on that,
really
28
gone
degree.
back a few generations?
Yeah, I mean, to my knowledge,
We're
there's
trying
nothing
to
happened.
find it. We're
But
trying.
no one has done more for the Jewish community than Leo Vega.
Yeah, I'm Yisrael Chai.
That's it. On that note, thank you all very much, Eric. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Your busy schedule, and a mensch, just a sweet
A
guy. I'm
mensch.
so proud that we had him on, and such a great person, and truthful. You just feel when you see him, when you get there's a vibe. It's real, and we enjoy him. And thank you all very much for listening. Again, thank you again to A&H Provisions for sponsoring our for this episode, and we will see you soon. Hopefully the live
Bye.
show. Be the friend that brings friends to the comedy show. Mashiach Energy. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.